Through the midst of time, the sound of a rattle drum is wakening the tranquil water town. The itinerant merchant's shouts announce his wares to all along the street. The varied items are meant to fulfill people's yearnings for a better life. The colorful fabrics and elegant floral hair clips will soon find their proud owners. Translated into the painting The Itinerant Merchant, the scene becomes the epitome of a new era. In 1958, The Itinerant Merchant by painter Ya Ming employed traditional artistic vocabulary in capturing the refreshing poetry of modern life. The subject of the painting is gazing across a millennium. Since the Song dynasty in the 10th century, the figure of the itinerant merchant has been a classic subject matter in Chinese genre painting. In such artistic creations based on the mundane, historians can trace a timeline through the centuries. Bringing historical imagination into the modern times, Ya Ming has renewed the timeless figure for his innovative approach and outstanding ingenuity. In 1954, the 30-year-old Ya Ming had spent several days lingering in the exhibition hall of Nanjing Museum from dawn to dusk. Every day, he was riveted in front of the Gongbi-style painting titled Emperor Taizong Receiving the Tibetan Envoy. Every single detail of the image was keenly observed and etched into his memory. During the night, Ya Ming would copy the image faithfully in every aspect, recalling its color scheme, composition, and unique temperament. His painstaking efforts often lasted until early morning. After many failures, Ya Ming completed the copy. When presented to the museum's director, he won high praises for his truthful interpretation of ancient techniques. Ya Ming's artistic vocabulary must have been acquired during the many nights he immersed himself in the centuries-old masterpiece. Ya Ming's ardent love for Chinese fine art had endured the perilous life during wartime. In 1939, the 15-year-old Ya Ming joined the new Fourth Army in Huainan. As a wartime painter, he created a series of images to promote the revolutionary struggles. After China's victory, Yaming finally got the opportunity to study and copy classic paintings from the past centuries. He benefited from the instructions of masters like Fu Baoshi and gained new insight into Chinese fine art. Rendered through the iron line drawing method, the painting Emperor Taizong receiving the Tibetan envoy is acclaimed for its realistic use of lines. The portrayal of its characters represent the traditional techniques stressed on the inner essence of subjects. With the brushstrokes governed by the artist's intent, the rhythm of feelings resonates across the canvas that had Yaming spellbound. And he soon found compelled to find a contemporary inspiration, echoing the ancient image. In 1956, the eastern shore of Taihu Lake in Suzhou City had finally recovered its former prosperity following the war. While doing sketches here, Yaming came across the inspiration that will lead to the birth of the itinerant merchant. The most vibrant specks of color in the water town came from the farm women. Their distinctive ornaments and clothes conveyed the brimming sense of hope and elation in land bathed in sunshine. And such brightness helped Yaming forget the darkness of war years. As Yaming occupied himself with sketching, an itinerant vendor passed by and reminded him of the juxtaposition of traditional and modern life. The itinerant merchant has been a classic subject in ancient Chinese fine art, balancing his wares on a shoulder pole and announcing his presence with a rattle drum. Such a vendor brings life's necessities to the local community. An itinerant merchant often arouses many individuals' expectations and imaginations for a better life. The merchant fired the imagination of Yaming. He had found an outlet for his creative energy and decided to paint a contemporary itinerant merchant.
阳明先生这句话说得非常生动，说画画要敢于冒险，就好像是人头在刀背上滚啊！如果一幅画过于四平八稳，过于模式化，观众看了呢就没有什么感受。像这幅画，它既转化了传统的像步辇图和捣练图的这种图式和人物形象，同时又融入了新中国初期的人们喜闻乐见的形象也好，色彩也好。
The portrayal of an itinerant merchant must be anchored on the subject's real life. Rather than focusing solely on the vendor and the children around him, Yaming assigned considerable visual weight to the industrial Suzhou women. Like the notes of a mellifluous melody, Yaming's brushstrokes infused the scene with poetry. As the sight reminded him of his wife's rehearsal with her fellow professional dancers, he transferred the graceful swaying postures to the characters on his canvas. Upon the completion of the meticulous line drawing, the figures on the 2-meter canvas would next come to life through the application of colors.
亚明先生在处理很多的重彩的表现的时候啊，他这个朱砂的颜色呀，在画中怎么上都上不到位，怎么办呢？他到旧物市场上，他买来一些相对比较传统的，甚至是明清的工笔重彩的画作，细细的研读。有的地方还研究不清楚怎么办呢？他甚至用小刀啊，把这个颜色一层一层的刮掉，他看看这个底色是什么。可以说，他既是有艺术家式的感性的态度，同时也有科学家式的严谨的那种风格。
With pigments of malachite, ochre, and scarlet mixing glue. He methodically added the layers of colors until the composition gained a lustrous sheen. In this panorama of life in the 1950s, Yaming quietly included the dove and some commodities bearing the brand name peace. After witnessing the cruelties of war, the artist insisted on the celebration of the new era of peace. Thus, the traditional artistic techniques converged with the spirit of the contemporary times.
亚明先生作为一个在新旧两个不同时代有过亲历的这样一个艺术家，以他传承中华文化这个坚定的志向和深入生活的这种写实扎实的能力，创作的这件货郎图，是代表了那个特定时段鲜明的一个时代特色。
Art should serve as a conduit between the ancient and modern. From the enigmatic patterns of prehistoric pottery to the holy beast inscribed on bronze, the romanticism of the true kingdom, and the aspirations of Tang poets, Chinese artists always sounded the most vigorous note of their times. The itinerant merchant has renewed this tradition.